Well, I don't have a terrible amount of things to talk about, but I found something, so we'll talk about it in just 1 second. I actually have the wrong banner up here. Let me switch that back. There we go. Welcome back to Brown's Breakdowns here, proud partners of Fanatical Elves Network, which I just put on the screen. How do I position my finger to point at it? Here? Up here somewhere? I can't get my finger there. But proud partners of them, and of course, Hemisphere Coffee Roasters have used this referral code right here. We get 15%. Great coffee, really, really good. Totally recommend them. Just great coffee. You'll never want to go back to Kroger coffee ever again. You'll look at Starbucks and you'll wonder how they make so much money. But great coffee. Totally go check them out. Use the referral code right there, and we get 15%. So shout out to them. But on to the regular show. So the Browns here, we don't think they're going to be good. At least Vegas doesn't, right? Now Vegas is quite smart. Vegas knows a lot, which is how they can make money off of the gambling. They know a lot about the teams. Now I think their total for the Browns, which is like 4.5, is a little bit low in my opinion. I think it's a little bit low. I think it actually really should be like 5 to 6 wins. I don't know, it's not much better, but I mean, looking at it, the Browns right now, the topic of the show is there more value for the Browns tanking than winning this season? And by winning, I mean 9-10 wins, maybe a wild card spot if you're lucky. Personally, absolutely. I think now tanking is weird because there isn't really such thing as tanking in the NFL. It's more like just there isn't really a thing of tanking in the NFL because you can't just, like, unlike basketball where you can just say load management for your player who wins you all the games and just stop him from playing, or make bad substitutions or things like that. In football, you can't really do something like that without it being blatantly obvious you're tanking, right? Like if you have a quarterback, you can't just swap out your starting quarterback who's been the starter for 3 years and is doing really well for just some random third string, because you're obviously tanking, and the NFL doesn't like that. So you have to strike a balance between tanking and not making it obvious that you're tanking. And obviously the player, there's no such thing as tanking for the players. The players will give it their all most of the time, 100% every single game. It doesn't matter what the owners tell them, it doesn't matter what the coaches tell them. They play 100%, and that's a good quality. Some don't play 100%, but most do. But I think personally that the Browns losing and doing poor this season is better than them winning, because if you do, like, let's say 10 games, you make a wild card, and you lose in the wild card, what exactly do you gain from that, right? What is brought onto you that you for reaching the wild card, right? But if you suck and you get like the top 3 pick, right, number 2 like the Browns had, even number 1 if you're lucky, that is so much more value than losing in the wild card, getting like the 20th best draft pick and things like that. And so personally, I'm trying to fix my camera. Personally, I think I think tanking and losing is going to give you more value next year than winning. And I want them to win. Don't get me wrong. I really want the Browns to win. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying I want the Browns to win. But looking right now at the Browns and what we need to do, it is more beneficial to the team to tank and get a high draft pick than it is to win. Because at this point, you still need a quarterback, right? You still need the quarterback. You still have some holes on the offensive line and defensive line. You still could fill a few other players. You don't know about running back. You don't know about wide receiver. And you have a lot of places you can work on. And so looking at this team, you have to decide if you would like to, you have to decide whether you want to progress, you want to use this season. Now, this is more of a like an F1 term, right? In F1, Formula One, what some teams will do is they will compromise the current year development of their F1 car to get a jump and more money into next year's team, right? So what I mean by that, how this transfers over to football, is imagine you're the Browns, right? 2025. You can, if you really tried your hardest, you can get about 8 wins, 9 wins, right? But that value is not worth it compared to sacrificing this season, right? This 2025 season to give yourself value for 2026 and 2027, 2028, right? These future years. And so I think that they should stink, because if you get the number 1 overall pick, you might not be able to get a quarterback this year. But what that means is you can. Sorry, that came out way louder than I meant it to be. What that means is you can use your number 1 overall pick. You can trade back and get depth players. You can draft the best overall of a wide receiver, defensive player. You can, and then you still have the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds to fill out your team even more. And then next year in 2027, even, right, when you do have a quarterback you really like, right? There's someone out there, I don't know who maybe an Arch Manning, right? You never know. Maybe some of these quarterbacks that are going to come out in 2027, and you draft him, and now you've used 2025, 2026, and 2025 and 2026 to draft players to core your team, and now you just put your rookie quarterback in a good situation, right? Because you just drafted a wide receiver, let's say, you drafted defensive players, you traded back, maybe got some good depth value, and now you have a much more whole team to put around your rookie quarterback and give him the best opportunity to be great. And I think that's what the Browns should do. I think if you don't even have to get number 1. You can get 1, 3, 5 even. But a high draft pick like that, if you can utilize that, you can really get a lot of value to roll that into 2026 and then 2027 even, and maybe even 2028, right? If you aren't happy with the quarterbacks, or you think you need one more build year, things like that. And so it rolls over. It's a snowball effect, right? You draft these guys, and then you draft these guys, and now you draft your quarterback, and your quarterback comes into a situation where he's surrounded by a group of players that are much more performative than it would have been in 2025 or 2026. And I think what that does is that, one, it gives your quarterback a better opportunity to be great, right? Because he's got a team already around him. But two, it means that it gives him an opportunity to perform at a high level immediately, instead of having to build your team around him. You already have a core. Now, maybe you don't have a perfect team, right? Obviously, you might not have a perfect team. You'll have holes and stuff, but you have a core around him, and that is important. You can build the rest of the team later in 2029, 2030, drafting players, trading for players. You can build the team later while your quarterback is reaching his prime, but you already have a core around him so that he can perform up to his highest. There's something in my throat. So that he can perform up to his highest level immediately. Now, I'm going to do some advertisements, and then we'll talk for a few more minutes, and then that'll be that. So I'll be right... Actually, hold on. Let me get my banner. I'll be right back. And we're back here on Browns Breakdowns, proud partners of Fanatical Elves Network. So, we were just talking about it's probably better value to lose. But I would like to mention the quarterbacks. I would like to just bring that up generally. Now, let's just say no one in this group we have does great next year, right? I want them to do good. I want good quarterbacks. But let's just say no one does well. What I think you have to look at is, I think Arch Manning could be good. I don't know how great he could be, but you obviously could take your chances with Arch Manning. But where do you go if the quarterback class you have right now, the group of quarterbacks you have at this second, does not perform to where you want them to? What do you do after that? because unfortunately, that is a possibility. Not a possibility I'm hoping for, but a possibility that the Browns do have to think about. And personally, I don't really know. Because now maybe you just continue sucking, get number one overall picks, draft the quarterback of your future, whatever. But I think the Browns have hit a point where it's going to be a lot of losing until you can figure out your quarterback. And thankfully, the Browns were used to this. But if no one works out, it's going to just be a very difficult time because you're going to keep, because quarterback, especially as the NFL evolves, has become a position that it's very hard to win without a good quarterback. Now, teams have done it. The Eagles, for example, now I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is bad, but the Eagles, for example, built a great team around Jalen Hurts, which elevated him to a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is bad. I'm saying they built a good team around him to elevate him to the capacity he needed to be at to win them a Super Bowl. And Patrick Mahomes is different, right? Patrick Mahomes, he is good enough. He can elevate everyone else around him, meaning he doesn't need as good of a team to or still win. So there's two solutions, right? You can either build a great team and elevate your quarterback, or you can get a great quarterback and elevate your team. And personally, I think elevating the team is easier. It's not, you very, very rarely will find your Patrick Mahomes, your Tom Brady, your Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning, your John Elway, right? These players that are just Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen, I know he hasn't done Super Bowl yet, but he's very clearly a great quarterback. And so I think the easier route is going to be building a team around your quarterback and then elevating him to Super Bowl capacity. Now, you could stumble into a generational talent, sure. You could do a Tom Brady, right, and have that draft pick that ends up being like the best pick ever. Holy voice crack. Speaking of an idea of elevating the quarterback, Brock Purdy, the 49ers, now who knows what's happening with them, right? Are they going to be good next year? Are they going to stink? What's going on? But I mean, you look at Brock Purdy, and he came into a team that was already great, that had already been to the Super Bowl multiple times, that had already been to the Super Bowl before, that had already been playoff contenders. He comes into this team. Now, Brock Purdy is a good quarterback, in my opinion. I think he's decent, but he comes into a team that's already, right, they get Christian McCaffrey. They have the second or first best defense in the entire NFL, right? They have Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, right? All these players, Christian McCaffrey, already mentioned him. They have an amazing offense and amazing defense. So he comes into a situation where he's already got a fully built, great team around him, and that elevates him to a higher capacity where he makes these high playoff. Were they in the Super Bowl? I don't know if they were. Sorry, I have to look this up. Has Brock Purdy been to the Super Bowl? No. Okay, because I thought, when did he get knocked out? Oh, he did. What? When they lost to the Chiefs in the 20... I can't figure it out. He's... Okay, so apparently this is just completely incorrect. One Super Bowl one. Oh, I didn't. I just wrote bin. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, Brock Purdy became the lowest drafted quarterback to become I cannot talk, but you know what I mean. He was in the Super Bowl, right? He had a team that elevated him to Super Bowl caliber, and you can do that, right? I think that is a little bit easier than getting a generational talent. And so that's what the Browns could do, is they could build now it's very hard to build the 49ers where you have number one running back, one of the best tight ends, incredible defense. You've got this plethora of wide receivers, right? You don't very often do that, but that is an option. You can you can elevate your quarterback to Super Bowl caliber by building a good team. And I think the 49ers are a great example of that, because Brock Purdy came in and was instantly great because he had a super good team around him. But that's really all I have for everyone today. So I hope you all enjoyed. Apologies for a little bit of a late podcast, but I should be back whenever I decide to make a podcast, whenever there's a topic to talk about. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Peace.